Hello, this is author Nathaniel Garrett Novosel, and we're here reading my blog post today, The Existence of Intrinsic Meaning in the Universe. Now, many people ask about the intrinsic meaning of life and the universe. Here, we're assuming that they mean inherent purpose or significance. This is a difficult question since if they mean it literally in the universe, then the answer is no, there is no intrinsic meaning in the universe. However, if they mean ingrained in all living organisms, in other words, in all life on Earth, then that answer is yes. Now, how can that be? Well, the universe the universe just exists. Nothing without intent, such as a rock, a mineral, water, or the universe, has intrinsic purpose. The purpose of an inanimate object can only be given by an organism with intent. So if I use my cell phone to make a phone call and use it to take pictures, and that same device holds multiple purposes depending on the user, the individual who is using that device, not the device itself. However, no one can dictate your purpose unless you agree to it via free will or via if some sort of coercion, like if they put a gun to your head and you comply. This is why looking outside yourself for meaning is only useful insofar as you find goals to pursue or things that interest you. People looking for a higher power for the meaning of life itself are either looking for guidance on what they would find fulfilling, which is logical, and is like asking people you trust for ideas or advice, of course. But they might also be erroneously looking for a meaning regardless of whether they like it or accept it or not, which is not logical. To give an analogy, if they ask their parents, who are literally their direct creators, the creators of their life, um, and they were ordered to go be a doctor by their parents, if they didn't want to be one, they would just ignore that advice. So why is any kind of non-physical recommendation any different? I mean, if you didn't want to do it, then maybe you shouldn't. Whether it's a human being telling you to do something, or something that you believe exists, or some sort of impulse you're getting that you don't want to do. So, in conclusion here, inanimate objects like the universe can't have intrinsic purpose because a tool or an inanimate object only has the purpose that an organism capable of intent and rational thought in this case can actually apply or assign meaning to that purpose. But life forms can have. They have their own intrinsic purpose that they assign for themselves because they have their own motivations and hopes and dreams and all that stuff. And so they, of course, are able to dictate their own purpose. But it's not assigned externally, it's assigned by themselves. Now, here's the unifying purpose. I mentioned yes, because if everyone was different, then what's that unifying intrinsic purpose? Well, while everyone has their own specific purposes in life, they all share an intrinsic purpose: growth. The purpose of all life on Earth is to grow. By definition, the initiation of life is through the self-replication of single-celled organisms. The very foundation of life is self-replication at scale in human beings with trillions and so on and so forth of cells. They grow in more and different ways than a single-celled organism through you know maybe they can grow through music, or they can learn, or they can practice a skill. They can grow their friendships. They can grow their relationships. They can have children. They can do all of these things that aren't necessarily the same as what other organisms can, but they all have the underlying common theme, which is growth. Also, life grows through experience. So in order to grow, you need to exist in a current state, want to exist in a future state, and then want to transition from that current state to future state. And growth is that transition from a current state to a future state. But experience is the medium through which that growth occurs. It has to happen through something. Growth cannot occur without time, and experience is some sort of happening, events, actions, whatever, over time. So it grows through experience. It's guided by desire. Desire motivates you, and sustained by beliefs. Beliefs keep you going when you face adversity, because if you believed that it was impossible, you'd stop. If you still believed it was attainable, you would continue. So, guided by desire, sustained by your beliefs. Life has emotions that provide feedback as to how it's doing. Now, there are rudimentary forms of feedback in lesser organisms, but let's stick with humans. They have an emotional feedback system, and so do other animals, where if they're being hurt or experiencing pain, oh, get away from that thing. If they're afraid, you want to protect yourself. If you lost something, you feel sad. So it's telling you how it's going, your relationship toward growth and harm. And then it follows ethics and secure support to maximize the growth and minimize the harm. So those are all the components that are common across all living things in various levels of sophistication, of course, that help them live, grow, thrive. But ultimately, your purpose and destiny the purpose and destiny of a human organism is a series of choices made throughout its lifetime. And so those are the components that make up the meaning that you assign to yourself and your what you want to do in this universe, your meaning, your significance in this universe. Now, the beauty of this answer is that it unifies all philosophies. Yes, maybe religions don't agree on the details, maybe other philosophies don't agree on the details, but they generally agree on the relevance of the above 8 concepts to meaning. I mean, if you take religions, for example, they all have a set of ethics. They all tell you what you should want, and they all, of course, are by definition, a set of beliefs. They recommend choices to take and tell you, and they tell you there's free will, and then you have to choose between good or evil. Um, they tell you to care about others. They all have these 8 things core to these belief systems, and there's a reason why, because they're the 8 things that drive your sense of meaning and significance, and therefore they're the ones that these belief systems focus on when they're trying to recommend to you how to have or find meaning in your life. But what's also cool is that these concepts can be scientifically proven through psychological studies and empirical study of the most successful and admired people in the world. If you've ever read a biography of a successful person and they're trying to tell you how they were successful, they'll point to these 8 things: the right choices they made, the desire they had, the beliefs they held to succeed through adversity, the experiences they had, the growth that they went on, the journey that they went on, and the growth that they that they gained as they went through their lives, the behaviors, the ethics that they exuded to achieve their goals, and the help that they got along the way. They'll list all of those things. That's the formula for a meaningful life, and therefore formula in this case of successful life. In short, there is no intrinsic meaning or value in inanimate objects due to the lack of intent. There is no motivation or drive in a non-living thing. But because life forms have their own intentions and can give value and significance to other things, other people, other inanimate objects, and so on and so forth, and they also, of course, all value themselves, there is intrinsic purpose and value in life that begins with growth and then ends with the intrinsic meaning and purpose that you assign for yourself in your life and your existence.